Will Odysseus make it home? And is it weird that Honda made a car named after a voyage where only one man survives? And why is it always Fernando Alonso? Welcome to Tinfoil Helmet, your occasional spicy hot take roundup of the latest F1 rumours. All with almost believable conspiracy theories to back them up. Everything here has been carefully researched for hours to make sure it is founded in logic, reason, and truth. Or not. We don't know. We never know. Because nobody calls us out for being wrong. Have we got anything right?
Well, let's see. You predicted that Odysseus would run into a Cyclops. That's correct.
Yeah.
I had that some of his men would be turned into pigs. That was also correct.
Yeah.
We both thought that more soldiers would make it home than did, so we got that one wrong.
Such is life.
Yeah, I just got back from watching the Odyssey.
Shall we talk about Formula One?
If we must, if we want to talk about long epics of voyages trying to get somewhere, of one man struggle to get an 8th championship, where somehow he loses points on a day where it looked for sure he was going to gain points on his championship rival.
Exactly. And who are we talking about? Fernando Alonso.
Do we think it's weird that Honda named the car the Odyssey because only one man survives?
In hindsight, it is, which I think explains a lot about how there's the question of when you have sufficiently reached a large enough family that you decide you need to buy a minivan, you've got to appeal in a certain way. And this is clearly their attempt to suggest that your journey as the driver of the minivan is like a Greek Odyssey.
Apollo 13's command module is named Odyssey.
How many men came back from that one?
All 3.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay. What did I say? Oh yeah, I said George is back. Not really.
We are getting more information, though, about what is causing George's issues.
Apparently him.
I thought it was a software bug.
Which they fixed.
Allegedly.
And then he wasn't very good again. And his car exploded. And he was still off Kimi. And people have done the tracing. They've pulled the data. They've said that the problem that was happening in Spa has gone. It's not there anymore.
Where do you pull the tracing from?
I don't know. I keep asking this question, and it's like f1stats.com, and there's this whole Python package that lets you analyze all the stats and all this other stuff. There's this whole thing out there, and supposedly they can pull it in somewhat real time. I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. So.
If anybody who I think would have thrown a Claude agent at that by now, it would have been you.
No, I don't care that much about it.
Fair enough.
I like to keep the human connection. I don't care about the stats. I care about the vibe. Okay, that was my only prediction because I was struggling.
I went with Aston updates work, but it doesn't matter. You gave me a maybe on this. I want to give myself a yes on this.
You give a full point because it mattered?
No, because they were still 13th and 14th, which is a lot better than they were. They both finished only 1 lap down as opposed to being 2 laps down.
Well, that's because the other possible finishers who would have been in front of them and slowed them down even more broke down.
The Alpine, a Haas, 2 Williams, and a Haas?
Well, I was suggesting that the Cadillac would have been in front of them and slowed them down. But then they broke down.
No, they both
flames.
broke down. Yeah, I don't know. I'm willing to give myself a full point on this because they still didn't finish in the points, but at least they're solidly now at the back of the midfield rather than seconds off the back of the midfield.
Well, with their new engine in Zandvoort, it's going to be amazing.
Let's not go overboard.
Okay. You also suggested?
No, that was my only prediction. I definitely did not suggest Lewis could win. I think I might have jinxed it.
You might have jinxed it. He could have. He could have, would have, should have.
Well, he got pole or didn't get pole? I don't know.
He was P2. He was P2. Very close to P2.
Yeah, and then grid drop.
And then Fred Vasseur and team decided that this wasn't acceptable, so they needed to make sure that Charles was in front of him. So they called up the FIA and made sure that the FIA gave him a 3-place grid penalty for impeding Oscar. And he really did impede Oscar. He was sitting right on the wrong place, so he totally deserved it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty bad. And then he had the race, and then he did some stuff. We'll get to the race in a bit. But yeah.
Yeah. Between race drama, there's a bug in the Mercedes car.
They fixed it.
That was fixed. But apparently that's what was causing the problem with George at Spa, allegedly.
They just asked Claude to fix it. It's the only way to do it. They clicked that little button, and they said Fable 5, and they said Ultra Think, and they say make George look good.
Well, do you think it was more along the lines of like, hey, I think there's a bug here, and it went, oh, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I put detonate George's battery.
Yes.
Let me fix that for you.
Yes. On a more serious note, did you hear the statement that they had made about what happened to Kimi at the start of the previous Spa? And it happened to both of them. So supposedly when they put their foot down off the start line and they got to the corner and went into La Source, apparently what happened is the way that they as they lifted, the engine thought that the engine control system thought they were still doing in start mode. It had an auto-triggered cancellation mode or drive mode or whatever hell it was. And then it just dumped all the battery. And so by the time they got around La Source, they had no battery. Kimi noticed this, which is why he let Max through and then drafted him and, solved the problem. But George didn't, and he didn't catch it in time, and that's why he got...
And this isn't a driver's aid.
This is not a... Okay, here's how you should think about this, because it's not a driver's aid. It is an engine manufacturer's aid.
I'm going to need you to tell me more.
Because the reason this software was added to was to aid the engine manufacturers to be able to successfully build the engine.
Isn't the whole point is the driver should be responsible for the deployment of the power?
He is. He's got his foot. He's responsible for it. He's just not accountable. So that's a brilliant line, actually. That is perfect for describing the current problem with the way it all works. They are responsible, but they're not accountable.
Yeah, you lucked right into that one. Yeah, that's... All right, well, thank you for listening to Tinfoil Helmets, your occasional spicy hot take roundup. We've pretty much nailed it with that one, and I think we've hit the peak of the podcast. And thank you all for listening. We might be back after the summer break.
Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, what else happened between race drama? I'm not sure this should be considered between race drama, but it did happen prior to the race. Bahrain is back in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Sorry, I only had popcorn for lunch. I was stuffing a granola bar in my mouth.
At least it was only a granola bar.
Heyo. Yeah, so the Bahrain GP is back. It just happens to be taking place at Sepang this year. And I find this very interesting because Bahrain is actually paying for the race in Malaysia, which, good on the Kingdom of Bahrain. This is very funny to me because at the same point in time as we were recording this podcast, the Commonwealth Games are taking place. The Commonwealth Games are taking place in Glasgow. The Commonwealth Games are not supposed to be taking place in Glasgow. They are taking place because the state government of Victoria, Australia, decided that they didn't want to pay for the event that they had agreed to host.
I did not know this.
Yes, the Commonwealth Games are supposed to be taking place in Melbourne in 2026. But sometime, I think last year, or maybe the year before, they were looking at like $1 billion price tag and went, no, we can't afford this, sorry. So instead, they are paying somewhere between, there are different figures, and I don't know if it's just currency translations or not, but it's something like either 400 million Australian dollars or 200 million British pounds sterling. They are paying Glasgow to host the event.
So I'm assuming that Glasgow set up like 12 sheds and 3 porta potties and then charged them this and reaped the rest for profit?
I don't think so. Well, they are paring it down a little bit. Like, it's not the full list of sports that they normally have at the Commonwealth Games. Glasgow did host it, and I want to say...
It wasn't that long ago.
Was it 22?
I think so. So what you're really saying is they didn't...
Birmingham hosted in 22.
Okay. But Glasgow wasn't that far ago. I swear.
No. Yeah.
So what we're really saying is that when they're doing the catering, instead of buying at Marks and Spencer's top label stuff, they just decided to, go for Sainsbury's own brand premium.
2014 is when Glasgow hosted the Commonwealth Games.
Okay, so they still kind of remember how to do it.
Yeah. But they also had like some of the venues and stuff like that. And yeah. It was opened by Queen Elizabeth II.
So here's an important question for you, which has been raised on previous episodes by yourself about the race.
Oh, not Commonwealth Games?
Not the Commonwealth Games, but about...
Not how am I going to watch track cycling at the Commonwealth Games while living in a non-Commonwealth country that doesn't seem to give a shit about the Commonwealth Games?
I can help
Rightfully
you with that.
so.
I can help you with that.
Is that what this week's sponsor, VPN company, insert your name here, we'll fill it in after the fact?
Sure. If you'd like to visit my blog, I describe it in excruciating detail.
Oh, God, then I have to read your blog.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But more seriously, the question that you had previously posed is an airline that sponsors the race should be an airline from the country that the race is held in. So should this... But this is being paid for and is ostensibly the Bahrainian Grand Prix.
Yes.
A.k.a. Emirates. Or should it be Malaysian Airlines? Is it Etihad? Maybe, sorry.
Emirates is UAE. I don't think so.
I'm going to have to cut this out lest I get somebody...
The Kingdom of Bahrain, I believe, is independent. Bahrain is not part of...
Okay, well, what's its airline then?
Gulf Air. It's Bahrain.
Gulf
is the flagship carrier. Yes, I am fine if this is the Gulf Air...
Okay, so based on our previous criteria, this is okay because it is kind of an extenuating circumstance.
I wanted to go one step further. I want this to be the Bahrain Grand Prix, presented by Gulf Air at Sepang International Raceway.
Okay, this raises a fascinating set of capabilities in the future.
Yeah. But this is also the American in with me, where it's like, I need like the Home Depot College Football Playoff presented by Dr. Pepper with support from Allstate or some shit like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
but that's what I would name it. This would be the
Home Depot,
Bahrain No, this would be the Bahrain Grand Prix presented by Gulf Air at the Sepang International Raceway.
I do believe it is called the Bahrain Grand Prix 2026 at Sepang.
This is going to be very fun for Wikipedia because, like, they always show, like, if you go, like, the Bahrain Grand Prix, you can go, like, go to the next edition. And it's going to be, like, map of the Bahrain circuit, map of the Bahrain circuit, map of the Bahrain circuit. Sepang, map of the Bahrain circuit.
Perfect.
This is also going to be a great, like, pub quiz question on, like, Formula One in, like, 5 years of, like, what country hosted or name the 2 countries that have hosted the Bahrain Grand Prix.
And everybody's going to be like, what are you talking about, mate?
Yeah.
Now you've also raised the fact...
They called it Secure one point in time.
They did. This does raise an interesting question. Is the race actually going to be held at the same time of, like, UTC time as it would have been held when it was in Bahrain? Because it's not going to be a night race anymore.
Then it would be a really late night race if it was. So it would have to be... Yeah.
Lots of interesting questions.
Also, I think Bahrain is one of the best tracks on the calendar. And I'm actually really excited they've replaced it with a track that we also consider one of the best tracks that used to be on the calendar.
It's better than replacing it with, like, Turkey.
Well, there's talk about throwing Turkey in the mix, I think, too.
Yeah, Turkey might come in the mix because of challenges around Abu Dhabi and Qatar. We'll find out. We've got 3 months yet.
Stupid. I actually think that this is going to be a very controversial opinion coming from myself. I actually think if Qatar and Abu Dhabi get canceled, Vegas makes the most sense for
yes, I agree.
The season finale.
Now, here's the real question. Would they move it? Would they move Las Vegas a month later?
Well, I think if you can't... Well, what's the schedule like right now? 2026?
Because you could move it to the end. Everybody's very happy about it being the end of the season. And then you could squeeze in 2 other races like... I don't know.
Watkins Glen.
Laguna Seca.
Oh, God, that would be terrible. So right now it goes Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. So if you're going to cancel it, you don't really have to move it. You can just say we're just going to end the season and not do the last 2.
But they deeply want the 24 races.
They do deeply want the 24 races.
So you move Las Vegas.
I think because of an idiot, they're not going to get 24 races.
No. I have strong feelings about how many races we have, but I'm going to save that.
Right. We should get to 26, one every other week.
You know, if they did it that way, I'd be okay with it. It's the triple headers that kill me because this with this addition, they're squeezing it in somewhere. I can't remember quite where they're squeezing it in, but it is now.
It's between Azerbaijan and Singapore.
There are 3 triple headers in 9 races. It's ridiculous.
Ooh.
Okay, shall we move on to qualifying recap?
Sure.
Did you want?
Granted, I've really enjoyed talking about the Bahrain Grand Prix of Malaysia.
Well, we can circle back around to it and spice.
It's not on the calendar yet. Come on, F1, update your website.
They've been too busy dealing with the race. I haven't seen anybody's chosen to appeal anything yet. Anyway,
no, this was our big track cycling race weekend at the Velodrome in Redmond, and it was also Redmond Derby Days, and I was out there either racing or helping because, yeah. So no, I didn't watch qualifying because I was in the middle of, yeah.
You didn't miss much.
Also, my kid had had their first kids soccer thing. 2-year-old soccer was going on, and we were at the wrong park with like 8 other families because they all told us because the organization told us the wrong park.
I apologize for this, and it's terrible, but that's very funny.
It is very funny. The city in which I live, it's like surprisingly has a lot of parks, and there's like City Park, and then there's also Civic Park, and those are 2 different parks. The reason we found out it was the wrong park is because one of the dads went and drove to every other park in the city and found two kids set up play with soccer goals and stuff, while there were 8 families at the other park trying to be like, "Where's everything?" But the park we were at also had like a really good playset and stuff. So the kids were too young to be upset because they were like, "But slides." The hardest part was trying to convince the kids to stay on the field until we were figuring out that we were actually all in the wrong spot because they were all like, yeah, we can just stand here and kind of play around with the grass, but there are slides right over there. Can we go that way?
That's not football.
No, it's not.
You need to rule with an iron fist.
Oh, Spain also won the World Cup since we. No, wait, we talked about that kind of while it was happening.
It was right at the very end. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you see the story? Speaking as the occasional segment on talking about planes, did you see that apparently Argentinian National Airline sent their World Cup liveried plane to Spain immediately afterwards, like on a regular scheduled flight? They sent the World Cup one to Madrid, and so then the Spanish sent their one back to Argentina, which I thought was quite funny.
Would have been even funnier if they did a one-time flight to the Falklands.
Let's not open up that can of worms. Yes, qualifying. It was actually pretty good qualifying. It was what qualifying should be. There were some cars that went round. They got faster, and they punched in the fastest laps. Everybody was getting faster. All the good things that you'd expect from qualifying, but nothing particularly shocking. But Fernando did make it into Q2 only, and I'm pretty sure he only did that by luck.
Hey, but an Aston got into Q2.
It did, first one of the season.
So we'll give me my prediction a point for that.
Yes. Surprise pole by Lando, which was kind of surprising, actually, in all honesty. Lewis gets...
Is McLaren back, or is McLaren just good at this one track?
We will find out soon. I have a sneaking suspicion it's this track.
Well, Zandvoort's not exactly unlike the Hungary ring.
No.
So we'll need to wait until the Temple of Speed for them to...
Yes, which is clearly where Ferrari will bring everything. Lewis needs to win that race. If he's only going to have one more win this season, it needs to be that one. What else happened? The Mercs were nowhere, pretty much. Oh, and then at the very end of qualifying, Charles Russell's? George Russell's engines decided to explode and peed everywhere, and he needed a new engine in the race.
But he is still within his allocation, so he did not get a grid drop.
Correct.
But
he
it's
didn't
not
take
looking
a new spec
good.
of engine, so he maintained his good position too.
Yeah.
Onto the race.
Sure.
Turns out Hungary is a bad track to be stuck behind someone at. Not as bad as Monaco, but pretty bad. There was not a lot of overtaking, and normally everybody dive bombs into turn one, and nobody was really dive bombing into turn one except Max, which we'll come to in a moment.
Good start. Oscar got away.
It was a great start by Oscar. Lando managed to screw up into Hamilton Corner because they named one of the corners after him. And Oscar got in the lead. And surprisingly, nobody binned it, which is especially funny given that Russell managed to completely screw up his start because he ended up in anti-stall and everybody nearly plowed into the back of him. And he ended up, I think, in 18th at the very end of it. And I really am surprised that nobody smacked into him.
At one point in time in the race, Martin Brundle had my favorite little quote about McLaren, which was they've had a little bit of a roller coaster ride with more down bits than up bits. Martin, that's kind of how roller coasters work, man.
Yeah. Facts.
I mean, I guess you if you're including the chugga up at the start, like then it kind of evens out to equal.
Yeah.
But most of the times I think I don't know. Are the loading areas? I think most of the times the loading areas are below the or the unloading is below the loading.
No, it's usually the same place.
Okay, fair enough.
At least they were in the roller coasters I used to get. You get out one side and then you got in on the other.
Yeah. Sometimes they have separate loading and unloading areas.
I don't go to many theme parks, so I'm not au fait with the technicalities.
Some of the like electromagnetic launchy ones that don't do the chugga, like they definitely land you back at the same place.
Are they basically railguns with people attached?
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of railguns with people attached, we spent the first 10 laps of people going around really quickly, and everybody was within like 1 second of each other. It was ridiculous. Also, you should note, by the way, Lando was on pole and he whiffed it, so he's keeping within on brand.
And that brings up a whole set of tragedy with papaya rules.
Yeah, papaya rules. I don't know. I hate it when they call out papaya rules. I hate when that. No other team does it in the same way, and there's something about the way that they do it that's just annoying, and I hate it. It pisses me off.
Well, I think I'm definitely on board with the driver in front gets to like the preferential choice of strategy.
Yes.
But I think if Oscar decides no, or Oscar's team decides no, I don't want to pit this lap, the answer is then not, okay, we have to wait until Oscar pits for Lando to pit. It's no, okay, Oscar, you don't want to pit this lap? Lando, you want to pit this lap? Like,
Exactly.
If the strategy team has decided lap 32 is the optimal lap for pitting, and the lead driver decides they don't want to pit on lap 32, the second driver should decide they can then pit on lap 32.
That is exactly correct.
But that's not how McLaren do it.
No, because fairness involves making sure that Lando gets preference.
Yeah, and then Oscar ended up behind Lando with did Lando just have more pace?
Yes, so as soon as Oscar pitted,
I did watch the race. I just also watched a 3-hour Greek epic in the middle of it, so I might have forgotten some of the race. Yeah,
Singapore then. Singapore's the Greek goddess. Anyway, Lando got out in front because Oscar pitted, and then what was amusing is Lando had been on the radio going like, "I'm faster, I'm losing so much time," and then it turns out he was correct. He went a full second a lap faster after Oscar had gotten out of the way, and he romped off down the road.
It's the one time where a whinging driver was probably actually correct.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with that information, actually.
Yeah, no, I don't know what to do with, especially on Lando. So they did some going around in circles. They pitted Lewis really early, which was kind of surprising. And he comes out. And
well, they were going for the powerful undercut. They were trying to get in front of Max.
Yeah. So they pitted Max as well. And at this point, Lewis was in front. And then apparently, according to the post-race interview, Lewis was basically napping and looking in the wrong direction. And Max snuck up behind him and went, "Oh, I'm just going to dive bomb him." And he worked. And so he got stuck
and we
in front.
never got a replay.
And I don't know why we didn't get the replay. Anyway.
Because the rest of the race was so exciting.
Yep. Well, there was fire. Bottas's car was on fire. Literally, it was on fire.
It was.
Yep. Oscar was definitely going to win it. But then he didn't. And it was all kinds of weird. What was interesting, I'd say, is Kimi nearly made a one-stop work. Kimi was down in P7, I think, because he got a penalty as well for not stopping under yellow flags. And he did a really good job of pulling that car up.
Yeah, and then there was a VSC because Oscar's gearbox went kabooey.
It went kaboom. Well, actually, before we get to that, there was a moment where Oscar was going around and he came out of the pit lane and he was behind Carlos Sainz.
Yes, that also caused that affected the undercut.
And so his
I'm going to eat my other granola bar. You tell everybody about the incident.
So, imagine you're at a racetrack. You are Oscar and you are coming out of the pit after trying to get your undercut, and you come around the corner and there you find a wild Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz battling out like it's for the championship, but it's actually, I think at the time it was for last position on track. And then Carlos Sainz decides that he's not going to pay any attention and see the purple, blue, pink, whatever colour they are, flags. And at that point he bangs into Oscar Piastri so hard that Oscar nearly goes off the track and his ass is hanging out. It's dust everywhere. It's all terrible. And there was a lot of complaining, which eventually results in Carlos getting a 5-second penalty, I think it was, because it was pretty bad. And Carlos in his post-race interview was like, "Nobody told me, it's fine, it's just racing. # deal with it." I would like to introduce a conspiracy theory at this point, that Carlos was paid off by Lando Norris, because they're good friends, to ensure that Oscar got held up. But given that it was, even from the moment Lando got in front, it was a second lap faster, I'm not sure that was needed.
I believe you'll find in my text messages that I was watching the race ahead of you, and on that 40 I said, "Is Carlos paid by Lando?" So I'm not entirely sure it's your theory.
Did I say it was my theory? I apologize. It's our theory.
The royal we, man.
Yes, the royal we. And so that was terrible. But then we keep going around for some more laps, blah, 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 etc., etc. And then...
Are you surprised Carlos didn't get a penalty point?
They got rid of all penalty points.
When did this happen?
Beginning of the season. It's confused us twice, and we've discussed it, I think, twice on this podcast. I'm confused by it, too.
I could have sworn somebody got penalty points at the start of the season.
Nope.
Is this just because Roman's no longer in the sport, we don't need penalty points?
Possibly.
And K-Mag's also no longer in the sport, we don't need penalty points?
Possibly. Although, Carlos is making a case for it.
I mean, George would make a case that Max needed it because he's borderline dangerous.
Yep.
Borderline violent, I believe, is actually the quote.
Yes. Unlike George, who's not violent at all and never throws a tantrum. So this causes a VSC because Oscar's gearbox goes pop in the most inopportune moment. And they pit Lewis. And they pit Lewis, ceding position to Max Verstappen,
who stayed out for track position. It's like Abu Dhabi. It's like Abu Dhabi 2021, all in reverse.
And it's even closer because Max was on soft tires, 20 lap on soft tires. Anyway, they do a solid for Lewis, and he's coming out in the pits. And then Kimi Antonelli, because we're under VSC at this moment, is coming down. on the pit straight, and they both cross the safety car line.
Yep.
One of the lines, safety car line. They crossed the safety car line basically at the same moment, but it was just enough that, like, the way momentum flowed, Lewis rolled in front, and so he was on front. And as soon as I saw the moment where Lewis pulled in front of Kimi, just the onboard, I immediately shouted, "That's a penalty!" And I was like, waiting for the penalty, but then the Ferrari strategist decided that maybe he should hand the place back.
But at the same point in time, you were correct. It was a penalty because he was speeding in the pit lane to try to get out ahead of Kimi.
Yes. He apparently pressed the deactivate button too early and got a 5-second penalty.
But man, they're just giving penalties out to everybody, apparently.
No, they're just giving them to Lewis.
Apparently.
I think Lewis has had more penalties in the last 3 races than anybody else.
Oh, good reason they got rid of penalty points.
Yeah, he'd be in real trouble. And so they go around, boop, 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 and nothing really happens. And then we get to the end of the race. See you in a month.
Bye. I know this race did not go Ferrari's way.
No.
But again, we're seeing a slightly different Ferrari this season in the fact of I don't feel like they played it safe today in any stretch of the imagination, and they were definitely trying things.
So Lewis has come on the post-race interview and said that he thought his tyres were fine and he didn't need to. But he understands that the decision was made, but he didn't think it.
Sure. Oh, for the under the VSC?
Yeah.
Well, I would petition that if we have I don't think you should allow a VSC in the last, let's say, 15-ish laps of a 70-ish lap race. I think full safety car. That if you get to that point in the race, like, I think there should be some, like, as much as I don't want to necessarily put the finger on the button of, like, artificial racing, all racing is also artificial. So we can just put our finger on the button. And I think if you could say that if there has not been a full safety car, and inside the last 20% of the race, we have the opportunity there is a potential for a VSC, or you need to do a VSC. Instead of doing a VSC, you deploy the full safety car.
The problem is that
no, there's no problem.
Great.
But what's the problem? I'll take it.
The problem is that means the stewards will change their adjudication and they will decide not.
No, they don't. Because the thing is, because what I'm suggesting is like, so for instance, right, if we look at today's race, there was no way that they could recover Oscar's car without a virtual safety car.
Correct.
I am saying that if you are in the last 10% of the race, or the last, 10, 15% of the race, and you have not had a safety car in the race, and a situation comes on where you would normally throw a VSC, i.e. Oscar's gearbox blowing up.
Sure.
You no longer throw the VSC. You throw a full safety car instead. That at a certain point in the race, if we have not had a full safety car and a safety car condition occurs, it has to be a full safety car.
So what does that mean in the situation where there's a piece of debris which maybe should probably be taken off the racing line, but they don't want to call a full safety car for it because it would be ridiculous? Do they leave it on there causing a safety issue?
You mean like at Spa?
Sure, let's go with that one.
Like what happened like a couple weeks ago or last week where it was,
Yep.
At Spa it was early enough in the race that...
No, I know. But
you throw the full safety car.
But I think that changes the dynamic of the people calling virtual safety car. Because they will evaluate it subconsciously as a full safety car and decide it's probably...
Okay, then somebody gets a puncture like Lando at Qatar like a couple years ago, and that was awesome. Because Valtteri's mirror went kabooey.
Yes. It's very complicated. But
it is, but like... There are other race series that have competition yellows to help. And I think we all love a late race safety car that bunches everybody back up.
Yes. There is something to be done here, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I think possibly the answer might have been if you call a safety car, you have to call it for a minimum period. Not safety car, a virtual safety car.
Yeah. But then again, that goes back to what you're talking about, because at Spa, part of the reason they went to virtual safety cars because Spa is so long and the cars are spread out that they did have a gap where a marshal could run out, grab a piece of debris, and come back in. So if you mandate something like a virtual safety car has to at least last one full lap, like the leader has to cross the line twice, or whatever the first car to cross the VSC line, has to then cross it again for the VSC to end, which I'm not against, but then you lose that sort of situation that we had at Spa. Where, again, now somebody, to your point of, they might decide they don't want to throw a safety car or a VSC because of,
People are squishy. So I'm going to be a cat.
Yeah, cats are never squishy.
No. Do we have more race things, or should we go to driver of the day?
Overall, I thought this was a fine race.
I thought this was a solid Formula One race.
Yeah. If somebody was asking you what is the average Formula One race like, this is a great example. It was not super exciting. It was not super boring. It was just a race.
Exactly.
And Hungaroring continuing to deliver.
Yeah, good track. I think it could be fun to drive. Okay.
You did say didn't you say last week?
Difficult. It's difficult.
This is the one you haven't ever mastered on the game.
Correct. Well, that Monaco.
Yeah. Well, this is Monaco without the walls.
That's what they say. It's very difficult to overtake. It was. I think this year was even more difficult to overtake than previous.
Yeah. I love how much that the FOM has put into like DRS is gone. We no longer have DRS, and every week on the Sky coverage, Martin Brundle's like, oh, are you missing DRS? We now have overtake mode instead. It's just the same thing. Like,
I meant to reply to you and say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but that felt a little bit ageist.
But he's also not wrong. Like,
he's not wrong.
It's like we've just changed the name of the artificial overtaking system from DRS to overtake mode, and instead of it being something visual that you can see as the viewer, we're now hiding it from the viewer to like make it more look like everything is fair, even though the car behind now has more power than they previously had, and there's no way as you as a casual viewer to know this unless you know all the fine details of the sport, which in some cases, in my opinion, is actually worse than DRS.
Yes, they need a flashing light. But you did remind me.
Or it needs to blast the star music from Mario, since we're already in Mario Kart as it is.
True. That did remind me.
And our podcast is now copyright striked.
That reminds me, not about copyright thing. We forgot to talk about the wings.
Oh, yeah. McLaren came with a Macarena wing.
We got a new Ferrari Macarena wing.
Yes.
With a thingy. It's got an extra 3 vanes on it. I don't know what it's called. Then Red Bull came with a new Max Reina ring.
Ew.
It's a new ring on him. A new ring on him. Woo! Kelly will be surprised by that. It's a new wing on his car, and it's got more bits on it. But he says it's still kind of broken, and he can still see that it's causing problems, but it's less crashy. And then McLaren bought the McLarenina wing.
That's a terrible name.
Yeah, I started from the internet. And so they bought 3 wings.
Yeah,
but they
probably
didn't
from a Zach Brown post.
Yeah, who's masquerading as Gruff Guy 72. But they didn't run it in the race.
They didn't run their Macarena wing?
They did not. They only used it for free practice. And it's interesting. There's a great animation of showing the way that they all open. And it is so fascinating to watch the way that the Ferrari one closes. I think you've said this before, but the other 2 all open in the other direction. And they've all got the stupid giant pylon to try and pull the thing forward. Whereas Ferrari have it in the sides of the wings. It's very clever.
Well, see, this is how you know the Ferrari Formula One team is back. They're making a very clever Formula One car, and they're also making the Lucide, that the Luce, that electric abomination.
Johnny, I would be so sad to hear you say that, but you are correct.
Because way back when Top Gear was properly airing on the Beeb, and I guess this would have been the early 2010s. Maybe it was even earlier than that. Yeah, no, it was when they were good. It was when Ferrari was good with Alonso and Felipe.
Mm-hmm.
So it was around that time. And Clarkson's whole thing was that Ferrari can't make both good production cars and a good Formula One car at the same time. They can either do one or the other.
They cannot walk and chew gum.
Right. So what's the idiot's Ferrari? The one James had, was it the 360 or the 408 or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess James has had several Ferraris, but they're like, yeah, see, it's no good. There was a Ferrari coming out. It's like it's going to be no good because the Ferrari's doing a good job in Formula One, and then they did a worse job in Formula One, and they came with the 458, which was a great car. So yeah. So Ferrari can't make it. Yeah, Ferrari can't make a good car if their Formula One team is also doing a good job. They can only do one thing well.
Let's hope it's for Formula One. That's all we care about.
Seems to be more for Formula One than their production cars.
I'm waiting for the first actual driving reviews of the Luce before I finally judge it, but it does look like an upside-down Apple mouse.
The problem with the Luce is
It's not a Ferrari.
It's not a Ferrari. Like I don't see the people who buy Ferraris getting excited about that Ferrari, and the people who have the money that don't care about Ferraris are also not going to buy that car.
Yeah, it's going to buy a Honda Civic.
Yeah, I think I saw there's something of Ferrari's made a comment along the lines of like, "Oh, they're all sold out" or something, and meanwhile Ferrari dealerships are being like, "No, we still got some allocation. You wanna come get one?"
Love it. The car that the people who don't want to buy a Ferrari but have the money to buy a Ferrari, they're going to buy an electric Range Rover.
You mean some sort of people's car? You would say, like a Volkswagen?
Maybe.
Okay,
but I don't think they make a premium enough vehicle.
Well, the people's car does have a multitude of brands underneath them now.
None of which are... Well, I suppose you could buy a Bentley Bentayga.
Bugatti's under Volkswagen Group.
Not anymore.
Really? They spun them off?
I think they just, like, the last few weeks. Just
Lamborghini?
Still.
Audi?
Yes.
Rolls-Royce?
No, BMW.
Oh, that's right. The other German group.
That's the thing I find so fascinating about... Sorry, to journey back into car and business. Rolls-Royce...
If we're at least talking about cars, we're at least somewhat on topic.
We're keeping roughly on the same continent.
Yeah.
So remember, Rolls-Royce, the car company, was Rolls-Royce and Bentley.
That's right.
But Bentley is owned by Volkswagen, and Rolls-Royce is owned by BMW, and it makes no sense. I don't understand. It's very confusing to me. Shall we switch to driver of the day?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking through cars Volkswagen owns. They still own... No, Volkswagen owns Bentley. Which we knew.
Yes, I said. That's what I was saying. It's very confusing. But Rolls-Royce is owned by BMW.
Boy, there are some pissed off crows out outside your window.
You have no idea what crows I have to deal with. That crow, all day. She gets up in the morning, and she's there, or he's there, at like 7 o'clock.
Have you considered giving her some peanuts?
There is so much bird food out there.
But peanuts?
Specifically peanuts?
Yeah.
Why? Does it kill them?
No, crows like peanuts. Then they'll bring you gifts.
I think it's because their child is out there and they're screaming at it to stop rummaging around in the bushes and it should learn to fly. I've mentioned this before. Crows shove the babies out of the nest to make them fly, and then they spend a few months hobbling around before they learn to fly properly.
Interesting. We would say Bugatti was no longer under Volkswagen?
I believe Bugatti is no longer part of Volkswagen. Or if they're not, it's very close to finishing off the domain.
All I hear is the fucking crow.
I cannot. Nobody would understand this bird. This is every day.
Let's see. Volkswagen Group acquired the Bugatti brand in 88 or 98. I think they're still part of the Volkswagen Group.
Bugatti, Volkswagen sale. Volkswagen walks away from Bugatti after 28 years, April 29th, 2026. VW has sold its final stake.
Porsche sold its stake.
Which is technically owned by Volkswagen. But this story I'm watching here is Volkswagen from the AutoWire on Yahoo Finance.
There we go.
Okay, shall we do driver of the day?
Let's do driver of the day.
My driver of the day is Kimi because I think he did such a great drive. And then my driver who couldn't wait for it to be over is Max because he hates that car.
I was also on the Max train for the driver who couldn't wait for it to be over. But I had a slightly different taste today. Instead of the driver of the day, I went for the overdrive of the day, and that would be one Lewis Hamilton.
There is one crow standing on the bird feeder, screaming into the face of another crow on the same bird feeder. They are inches away.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I had a Lewis for overdrive of the day.
What do you mean by overdrive?
Well, he pushed the pit limit button too early to get out of Kimi. He was constantly trying to overtake people, and he'd end up in some sort of slide. He was trying his best to move up through the race. In ways, to be fair, I think he did a great drive. That's also why he's kind of the driver of the day, but I also think he overdrove that Ferrari a little bit, which is why I'm crediting him with the overdrive of the day.
I think I can see that, and I will say that his driving, he was so committed in keeping to it for the whole race. I think at any other track, he would have made it past at least once or twice more people.
Yeah, he was. I think part of it's also the track, but he was doing his damnedest.
Which team debrief would you like to be in?
In part because of the overdriving by Lewis and Charles just kind of being forgotten about again. I would go Ferrari.
I'm going to say Williams because I want to see how mad and how stupid Carlos Sainz is about not being told that Oscar was going to be there.
Well, if we're going to go for which two drivers do we want to see meet by the swing sets at 3 o'clock, it would definitely be Carlos and Oscar.
Yeah, it'd be beautiful. It'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Checo versus Valtteri Watch, double DNF.
This is just getting sad because of all the double DNFs.
There haven't been that many. Oh, there's two. No, there's only 2 double DNFs.
That's as many as McLaren did not start this year.
Yeah. Let's not talk about how many double DNFs Aston Martin had. In qualifying, though, Bottas did pip him.
Ooh, coming back, going strong.
Fun fact corner. Stroll is now one of the most experienced drivers on the grid. 200 Grand Prix starts.
That somehow still seems low.
Yes, and also, for his level of performance, high.
Well, I would say his performance is on par with his teammates.
True. But only one of them got it into Q2. Spicy takes and rumours. My spicy take is there are too many races. 24 races in a season is too many.
Yeah.
I think 20 is a good pushing it number. I think that's probably about right. Maybe 1 or 2 triple headers, especially in Europe and maybe Asia.
Or you go for 20. You just go for 26. We'll do a double header to start off, then go every other week, and then a double header to finish. And that way, you get a little bit of a break between the season.
I agree. That's the other way of doing it. If we're going to do it, I think that's what they're aiming for.
Yeah, but then you also you're still going to get like a 3-week break or somewhere in the middle of the summer.
Yeah. Make it work. Make it work, people. Do you have any space?
Are Mercedes cooked, or are they just not good at the Hungaroring? Have they been outdeveloped?
No.
Because if Hungaroring is truly Monaco without the walls, they were up there at Monaco. In fact, I believe Kimi won at Monaco.
He did.
And they were well off the pace.
I think it's not that they've been outdeveloped. I think they're waiting to bring their development update.
So there was a whole thing about Toto not understanding where all the money from Ferrari was coming from. I'm wondering if they went too hard on development at the start of the season and didn't leave themselves anywhere to go, while Ferrari kind of admittedly said, "Oh, we just kind of went with our first idea, and then we saved all the money to develop throughout the season." I'm wondering if Merc kind of cooked themselves.
It's possible. I did like the way Ferrari said, they were stop asking about our money, but somebody came out and said that actually what Ferrari had done is they'd made a very explicit choice. The right thing to do is to start the car and drive the car, and then we develop on the track.
Remember to please send your complaints about Dominic's accents to feedback@tinfoilhelmets.com.
Send what?
Sure.
My prediction is that a Honda engine explodes in Fernando's car while he's in the points, P10 specifically, 75% of the way through the race.
You want to pick a corner?
No.
Okay. Oh, okay. Once we're done with the recording, I have something I want to show you.
Okay. And also one more. Lewis gets at least 1 penalty. I'm trying to do the reverse jinx.
Oh, okay. Do you want to also go Lewis finishes dead last?
No.
Okay. I went with Max Verstappen.
He does have home field advantage.
And the Red Bull's looking better.
Ish.
He was close to pole.
He was close to pole, but I think that has a lot more to do with the track than anything else. But we'll see. You assert that Zandvoort is somewhat Hungary-like.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And then I also said rain, because it's right there on the North Sea.
I'd like some rain. I want to see these cars in the rain.
I'm sorry, we're going to move up the race 3 hours so that they don't race in the rain.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot about that.
All right, well, once again, thank you for listening to Tinfoil Helmets, where we also talk about movies, sandwiches, and everything else under the sun, because sometimes the race isn't actually interesting enough to spend a whole hour talking about it. And we've also kind of done it to death with these cars, so occasionally we wander into other things. But I think that's why people come back and listen. If you don't like that, please feel free to write in and tell us. If you do like that, feel free to write in and tell us at feedback@tinfoilhelmets.com. Also, tell your friends to rate, listen, and subscribe. We are going to go on the summer break with Formula One. There is no Formula One movie for us to watch this year, so we're not going to have any sort of movie review in our break, unless Dominic watches the Odyssey and it has moved him in such a way that he feels we need to do a podcast episode about it.
We'll see.
Yeah. So, bye.
Was it an Odyssey to watch it?
It's a long movie. Thank God IMAX platters only have so much space, or Christopher Nolan would have made a 4-hour movie. It was. I'm slightly conflicted on it, only because generally when I go to see a Christopher Nolan movie, I'm expecting some sort of like weird sci-fi thing or something, and like
or a plot twist.
Sorry, I had to look at my mic for a second. Or a plot twist. Yeah, or like something to do with time. And I guess most of the movie is a flashback, so he got his timey stuff in there somewhere. Or, you know, it's something like Tenet, where like it's a weird sci-fi concept of some sorts, or Interstellar's the same way. So like going, or like, you know, there's something massive about technology going on, like with Oppenheimer or Inception or something like that. So for a just kind of like Greek epic being told by Christopher Nolan, it was like, okay, but when is Batman going to come in or something like that? But it was really good.
Is this the Master and Commander for Nolan to Spielberg as Odysseus Master and Commander in their career arc?
Yeah, I could kind of see that. I mean, it's a very, there are so many things to love about the movie. I thought the casting was very good. Because that got a lot of play on the internet of like, oh, I can't believe they casted this person in this role. Okay, shut up. Like, it's fine. Everybody was great in their roles. No notes there. The guy who did the soundtrack, Ludwig Göransson, I'm gonna get that Swedish name wrong. He used like traditional like 3,000-year-old Greek instruments to do the whole soundtrack. So like that's really cool, and it sounded really cool. The whole thing was done without any CGI, which is really cool. When they're on the island with the giants, it's all like forced perspective, and it's really cool because they had like a 5-foot stunt double for Matt Damon, and she was like placed against these like 7-foot tall guys in giant armor. So like it looks really cool, and like as soon as you know it's forced perspective, you're like, oh yeah, I can definitely see it's forced perspective, but it's still like super cool, like how they did it. Yeah, overall, really, really, really cool. Yeah, good story. We needed another movie where Matt Damon tries to get home.
Did he?
I mean, spoilers on a 3,000-year-old story, but
I
yes.
haven't read it yet. Don't spoil it.
But yes, Odysseus makes it home.
Good job.
Yeah.
Does that mean Matt Damon's done now because he made it home?
Well, I don't know until we get to the next story of trying to get Matt Damon home, because I think we're up to like there's several of them at this point.
Yes.
It's one of the best genres of movies in my opinion.
It should have its own genre on Netflix. Matt Damon movies where he tries to get home.
Yeah. Or if you want to expand it to like saving Matt Damon, because then you can throw like Good Will Hunting in there.
Yeah.
Potentially the Bourne movies. I'm not quite sure how we feel about that.
He was trying to get home.
There's a great scene in the Odyssey where he and Tom Holland are escaping from a place. That's about all I'll say, just to avoid kind of spoilers. But apparently Tom Holland's a big fan of the Bourne movies because the Jason Bourne movies are a bunch of fun. And there's a scene where like it's from behind, so you can't see like their lips move or anything. And apparently, while they were shooting this scene, Matt Damon was saying to
Tom Holland.
I wanted to say Hiddleston, and it's like, that's the wrong Tom. He was saying to Tom Holland, like, okay, what do you know about Treadstone? Like, putting him in a Bourne movie, essentially. Tom Holland loved it. Yeah. Zendaya was great. Charlize Theron was great.
Anne Hathaway was in it, right?
Anne Hathaway was great. Anne Hathaway apparently she went full Daniel Day-Lewis on, like, learning how to use an old Greek loom or something like that to weave something. Because her character is weaving.
Is looming and weaving a significant part of the plot?
For her, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weaves the future story of the something.
Yeah. So in Tenet, John David Washington's character was just named the protagonist, and you're like, Christopher Nolan, little wink, wink, nudge, nudge sort of thing, because you know he's talking about making movies and stuff. And then meanwhile, like in the Odyssey, you have the guy who's looking after Tom Holland's name is Mentor, and it's like, Christopher Nolan's not up to his own things. It's like, oh wait, no, that's just a word we've stolen from Homer. Like, it's like, crap, that actually just
way here first.
That just is Mentor. That's why we say it.
Can you tell the story and it impacts everybody down the line? Wait till you get the royalties on that though.
Water tasted weird. Yeah, no, but overall, good movie. Would recommend if you like big loud movies in IMAX. It is a little loud. Or there are parts that are a little loud. I definitely agree with the person that said Christopher Nolan movies would be better if he finally gets that hearing test.
I did also hear that in the 4D version of the movie, they spray water at you, which I'm not sure how I feel about.
Yeah, I mean, they're on a boat several times.
Yeah.
And they make Poseidon angry.
Oh. Spoiler.
Kind of.
Cliches exist for a reason. Sorry, stereotypes, not cliches. I think
that's a controversial statement. Stereotypes exist for a reason.
Sure. Depends what your reason is.
Colonialism?
No, that was not the reason I think that it's in.
That's fair. Historical bad-mouthing of minority groups?
I think that is the bad use of it. I also think that sometimes stereotypes exist because when you put a large amount of people in a specific place, they will glom together in some interesting way. You could pick the people who like chocolate sandwiches. They're weird people, but still a stereotype.
I mean, I like an Oreo.
That's not a chocolate sandwich, though.
Agree to disagree. What about a s'more? Would you give me a s'more?
It's also not a sandwich.
You're saying a s'more is not a sandwich?
Correct.
Oh man, okay. How is a s'more not a sandwich?
There's no bread involved.
What is the graham cracker crust if not breading on the s'more sandwich?
It's a cracker, not a piece of bread. If I put a piece of brie between two water biscuits, is that a sandwich?
Sure, it's delicious.
No, it's cheese that is sandwiched, but it is not a sandwich.
I'm sorry, it's what?
It is sandwiched.
It's sandwiched, yes, it's a sandwich.
But it's not a sandwich.
But you're using the word sandwich to describe what it is, thus it must be a sandwich.
You just don't have a full grasp of the English language.
You just don't exist enough time in the pedantic pageantry corner of the Discord server that you're in, because you don't know how that whole thing started with the whole hot dog a sandwich debate.
Hot dog is not a sandwich.
Hot dog is a sandwich.
By whose definition?
Mine, because everything is a sandwich.
Everything is a sandwich?
Pretty much everything is either a soup or a sandwich.
Cereal?
That's a soup.
Okay. Cereal without the milk?
That's just a snack. But that's still cereal. That's a soup, I guess.
Anyway, sandwich involves 2 slices of bread.
So you're saying like a Philadelphia cheesesteak is not a sandwich?
Correct.
A hoagie is not a sandwich?
Correct.
These are bad takes.
They may be, but they are truths.
And you're saying a cracker is not a type of bread?
Correct.
Because I'm going to guess you're saying it's not leavened, and this is then not bread?
It's not squishy.
Okay. Do you need squishy to be bread?
Yes.
I guess that's... Well, no. So you're telling me then a tortilla you would not consider a bread?
Correct.
Interesting.
It's a wrap.
Sure. But then a wrap would not be a sandwich because it would be a wrap.
Correct.
Is pizza a sandwich?
No.
Is a calzone a sandwich?
No, that's a pie.
But I would argue that a pie is a sandwich.
No. Not. Is it? So, okay, it's clearly an American pie. It's clearly, absolutely, uncontrovertibly not a sandwich because all it is a bowl with soup in it and a lid on it.
But it's between 2 pieces of bread. It must be a sandwich.
No. Only good pies, but most American pie is no base. It's just a thing in a tin, and then you put the lid on top of it. That's clearly only got one piece. It's basically an upside down pizza at that point.
I don't know where you're getting your pies in America, but not at any good reputable pie stuff. Come by my house. We go to Snohomish Pie Company. They got some proper pies.
I'm talking about savory pies predominantly. Dessert pies are a whole different category.
Oh well, we don't do savory pies in this country.
See, that's a problem.
So you're saying an open-faced sandwich then would not be a sandwich?
Correct.
Is a burger a sandwich?
Yes.
Trying to figure out like ways to trap you in this.
I'm gonna call this sandwich corner.
Right. Famously, when this Discord was established, we then also had people over for the 4th of July, and my wife forgot to buy hot dog buns, but we had hot dogs, so we served hot dogs on sandwich bread, which then lit up the Discord channel because then it was because my wife is firmly in the camp of a hot dog is not a sandwich, but then she served hot dogs on sandwich bread. So then it was like, we've made a sandwich here, haven't we?
This is the challenge. A word can have dual use. A hot dog both refers to the sausage and the entire bap.
Sure.
And I would also like to point out that one of the greatest sandwiches ever invented is a sausage sandwich, which involves taking a sausage, which you could consider a frankfurter, a sausage.
Sure.
And then you cut it down the middle lengthways so it folds out and sits on the bread flat, and then you cover it in your appropriate sauce, and then you put your lid on top of it, creating a sandwich. Cut it down diagonally. Perfect.
What if you instead fold the bread together so you're only using one piece of bread?
I will allow that because what usually
happens
what usually happens is the seam side of the bread usually splits, creating two sides.
So if I was eating a hot dog and I had a very bad hot dog bun and my hot dog bun split, does my hot dog then become a sandwich?
Yes, it does.
All right. So really it's you're living in the world of Heisenberg's uncertainty sandwich.
A hot dog is a Heisenberg uncertainty sandwich. Yes.
We don't know if a hot dog is a sandwich until we have observed whether or not the bun has split. So it could both, or I guess it's more of a Schrodinger sandwich than a Heisenberg sandwich.
Yes.
So it's Schrodinger sandwich is the hot dog for you.
Yes.
Okay, I'll allow that. It's a bit flimsy. Okay. I would still like to go back and say that is an ice cream sandwich a sandwich?
No, because it's not bread.
But it's got sandwich in the name.
Just because marketers call it a thing doesn't mean it's a thing.
Oh, that's rich coming from somebody who works at your company.
Hey, I'm on the marketing department, man.
Have we? Oh, we made it an hour. Cool.
Predictions for Zandvoort?
Did we decide Merc was cooked or not?
I said there's a distinct possibility, but we need more races.
Oh, good news. We've got a break, and then the FIA is the FOM is trying to figure out ways to shove more races onto the calendar. So you will get your wish of more races.
Yeah.